World's strongest man in Botswana. So far it's been intense, but we're now down to our final heat. Just 2 more places available in the grand finals. Now the athletes we have competing for those today are an interesting mix. There's some new faces in there. There's one very friendly one, Britain's Terry Hollands, and there's also, I'm delighted to say, a returning hero of strongman. One of our big 4 aiming for title number 5, Z.
Botswana sees the return of a legend who has redefined this sport. A man who has been crowned the strongest on the planet 4 times. Zydrunas Savickas, Big Z. He's making a comeback after a year away fighting injury. And although he returns with a re-sculptured frame, his champion's mindset is very much intact as he hunts a record-equaling 5th title. But the hunter has now become the hunted. In this group of death, he faces others whose weaponry is sharpened for a giant killing. Z faces Brit Terry Hollands, who seeks redemption after a dip in form. Wounds healed, he's now on the rise. Opposing the veterans are 2 Americans forging their own revolution, and 2 untested debutants have arrived. Letting your guard down against their unknown strength could prove fatal. Just 2 places remain for a chance to win the CoreGenX World's Strongest Man. The stories of redemption and comebacks could lead to one of the most dramatic closing chapters of the qualifying campaign in the history of this event.
Wow, Magnus Verb Magnusson. Z, a 4-time winner like yourself. It's great to see him back, but is he still going to have that Savickas power?
Well, I'm sure he has the strength still. He's been coming back from injuries. But he might be competition rusty.
We saw something similar perhaps with Terry Hollands when he made his return to World's Strongest Man last year, and he looked like he lacked a little bit of composure.
Yes, but this year, looking at Terry, he's fitter, mentally stronger. He came 3rd at Europe's Strongest Man, so I'm expecting him to do good.
Well, who's going to take those final 2 places in the grand final? It all begins with event 1.
And standing by with a load to tell us are Colin Bryce and Big Danny Wallace.
That's better than Little Danny Wallace. Load and drag is the first event, and it's not an easy one to get started with. It's a 10-metre course, 75 seconds to carry 2 sacks, which are 110 kilos each, and then drag a mining cart, extraordinarily heavy mining cart, across brick. So one of the debutants, Fadasiri from Nigeria. While from Iran, Marapuria, it's his first time in the competition as well. He is a 2-time Iran's strongest man. But no stranger to this, Benzel from America.
Ready!
And we're off.
2 sacks first of all. Look at Payman from Iran. He's super fast. I've only ever seen videos of him before, and he really did dominate the Iranian championships. It's great to have an Iranian back. Right now, he's first on to this sled. The Nigerian on the far side, struggling a little bit with speed, but he's the heaviest, so perhaps he'll catch up in this section.
Absolutely. Well, it's mass, pulling mass.
The more of it, the better, normally, but Payman, he's so explosive, the Iranian. Lost his footing there. He's got a background in Olympic weightlifting. Many great Olympic weightlifters come out of Iran, so no surprise he is explosive, but it's like he's stuck there. This brick is so porous, isn't it? The friction's enormous.
Absolutely, could do with a set of wheels. Benzel, currently 2nd. 10 seconds to go now. Marapuria from Iran.
Well, they've got to keep pulling. It's not against just these men. There's 3 more men to come after. Every inch counts.
Well, that's that. Well, look at that. What a great showing from the Iranian. Showboating, or he could just be very warm.
Tremendous effort there. I thought he was going to get caught by the other two after a quick effort in the sacks. But this is a man fully committed.
So Nick Best looking to best that. Not the tallest man in the competition by any stretch of the imagination at 6 foot. Up against a British legend, Terry Hollands. Didn't qualify for the grand final last year for the first time in 9 years. And, well, a global legend, Big Z.
Four times world's strongest man, closest to camera here. Let's see what kind of shape the 41-year-old's in. Of course, he's 7 years younger than Nick Best still, so certainly can't use age as an excuse. And there's Terry Hollands. He's lost a bit of weight, got himself in better shape than last year, and he's in the lead.
And the sacks really just a warm-up for this. Very, very tough just to get this started. Need to get into a rhythm.
Interesting, Zaviskus isn't doing huge full-body pulls. He's actually trying to lift the front end up a bit to try and lower the friction.
The determination, though, from Terry Hollands. Got it all to prove. Oh, look at this. Big Z slipped.
30 seconds! 30 seconds!
Good effort from Hollands. Those big size 17 shoes planted to the ground.
Will he be able to cross the line? 20 seconds left. He looks like he's gonna.
Has an eye on Zaviskus, and actually on the other side, Best is in front of Zaviskus.
Go on, Tell.
Has he done enough? Is that how he feels? Did he tire himself out? Why not?
One more.
And that's that. He's over the line. And interestingly, he's only one of two men to have managed to pull that cart the whole way, the other being Hafthor Bjornsson.
Certainly took it out of Nick Best. He looks exhausted. The lightest man, though, pulling well. Terry Hollands the winner. 1 minute 14. Almost 1 minute 15. Just in the time limit. As for the other two, they beat Payment, so their second and third was Zaviskus, just ahead of Best. But Hollands comes out on top, and he's with Sarah Jane now.
Now, you look like you really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean, I had a great event. I expected to get off to a pretty good start, and it's just nice to get the win. I knew after the first sack I was sort of in a good position because I know Nick's really quick on the sandbags. Couldn't really see what Z was doing, so I knew I was in a good position. And then when it comes to the drag, if I was leading going into that, I pretty much knew I had the event in the bag.
You had a really good technique. Talk us through that, because you're almost like diagonal in your stance, and then you had a really good leverage on it.
Yeah, I mean, the surface is a bit slippery, and it was hard to really get a good grip on my shoes, so turned my feet sideways a little bit to get a bit more traction, and it seemed to work well.
Well, a great start from Terry, only the second man alongside Hafthor Bjornsson back in Heat 2 to complete this course. Big Z just shy of the finishing line, Nick Best doing well in third. Up next in this group of death, it's a do-or-die event, the squat. They're getting straps and their 1,000-yard stairs on. Make sure you stay with us on CoreGenics' World's Strongest Man. Welcome back, everyone, to World's Strongest Man in Botswana. It's Heat 5 here in Gaborone, and as Nick Best, Z, Terry and the rest gear up for the squat, Colin and Danny are lifting their lip mics at the ready.
Well, you know, they're pretty heavy. And this is the squat lift. Now, traditionally, Americans have done reasonably well at these, haven't they?
Yeah, those people who have a powerlifting background, 60 seconds to lift 320 kilos, up and down as many times as possible.
Well, the Nigerian, Fadizire, had a go. Currently in second, he managed 2 reps. He was followed by the mighty Iranian, Maripuria, managed 5 reps. Now, though, turn of an aforementioned American, Brian Benzel.
A lot of people think Benzel's just making up numbers in this group, but I know for a fact he's got a powerlifting background, so with that in mind, you just never know quite what he'll do.
He made his debut last year, got injured, he was advised to withdraw, but he fought on. He doesn't like squats, he says.
Well, he's not bad at it, that's for sure, and he's certainly watched and learned The big Nigerian was rocking and rolling, despite having much bigger quads. Only did 2. Now he's equaled 5. This to go into the lead. And he's in his groove.
Well, look at this. Touch of blood.
Yes.
30 seconds to go.
All that pressure, you have to hold your breath in every time you go down to keep your stomach tight. Can he do 8? Yes.
Squad. Help, 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 help.
He's done
help.
enough. He needs out.
Good.
Well, look at that.
Very brave.
Give him a hand with 8 repetitions from the United States. Brian
Well, taking the lead. 8 reps.
I don't think he could have squeezed out any more. In fact, he knew it. He wanted it to be racked. Keeping his breath in there, trying to keep his body tight. If you don't, you end up humping over and hurting your back.
Representing the United States.
So next up, Nick Best, second oldest competitor in the competition after Britain's Mark Felix. He has said this might be his last appearance at World's Strongest Man.
And in between this WSM, elastic how cool and calm he is. Last WSM, he's won an over 40s world title in powerlifting. So he is tremendous at this. A little stiff, struggling to get the depth.
Now Benzel has set 8 to beat.
He should beat that Best. He is the better squatter. It's just whether he can handle this enormously thick bar. If it starts rolling down your back, you're in a lot of trouble.
Keep an eye on the boys. You all right, Nick? You all right?
He needs to reset.
Normal thin bar, you can bully back up onto your shoulders, but if this starts to go, it's gone.
Well, look at this. 7 already. Equaling
Squad.
Benzel's 8.
Very good.
Still more than 10 seconds to go. Can he manage one more? No, he can't.
Right.
Well, he's done enough to tie for first so far.
8 repetitions from the United States. Nick Best.
I think that's the face of a man who knows he could have done more, but he battled out a decent amount anyway.
Absolutely.
I think he can be pretty proud of that. He could have lost that at 1, 2, 3 reps in. Leaning very far forward, and that's always a bit dangerous when you stand up to the top. That's when it can slip down your back.
So Zaviscus, fan favourite.
Yeah, and after 20 years in the sport, 4 World's Strongest Man titles, and let's not forget a former IPF powerlifting world champion as well. This guy can do it all.
Just a couple of years ago, got quite the neck injury. Lost about 80% of the strength on his left-hand side. Oof.
Something either gave way there. Oh no, he's going to go for it again. Good for him. Look at this. What's Cedrunas doing? This is going to be incredibly impressive if he gets out of that.
Well, he wanted to, just couldn't quite manage it. Now, has something gone wrong there?
5 repetitions from Lithuania.
I don't think so. I think he just lost his balance, so he thought he'd drop down, catch it on the cushions, and then he had such confidence he could stand up with it again. He gave it a go, but that could have been injury-giving.
Great Britain, Terry Holland.
So Terry Hollands targeting his 10th World's Strongest Man Grand Final.
Terry will want to put in a good performance here. You know, he's a tall man, and people have often suggested he's not a great squatter, as they always say about tall people. So let's see what he's worth.
Made a real statement of intent with the load and drag.
Good start. Ooh, he's a bit squint there. That could put him off when he hits the pads.
Some people use that bounce, don't they?
Oh, Hollands is more deliberate than that. I think he's backing his strength. Look at that, he even stopped there, but that was a grinder.
Getting in trouble, yeah, absolutely. That's that for Terry Hollands. Managed 5. Knows he could have done more.
Yeah, maybe he just was too deliberate.
Terry Holland.
But this is in the final again, so if he makes it to the final, he'll have another crack at it. And I think he wanted a confidence builder.
Just going.
The big man can squat, he's proved that.
Well, tied for first place then the Americans, Nick Best. And with a hanky up his nose, Brian Benzel.
Great result for the Americans. Bald Eagles, Benzel and Best co-owning top spot with 8 reps each, while Terry shares third place with Big Z and the Pieman. And that moves Nick Best into first place overall, but he faces a real battle to hold on to it, with Hollands just half a point off the lead, as the man who spent a decade as Britain's biggest hope tries to bounce back from his terrible time last year.
Last year's performance for me was not good enough, as simple as that, for coming to World's Strongest Man for so many years and always making the final. You know, I went away and regrouped and changed things around a little bit and moved forwards, and you know, I feel like I'm in a much better place this year. When we come to World's Strongest Man, for all of us, it's like, you know, we're friends. Ultimately, I know we compete against each other and we all want to win, but we are all friends, and it's a very tight community, and it is like a family reunion. It does feel like that every year. I mean, and that goes for not just the guys competing, it's everyone behind the scenes as well. It does feel like that, and everyone's really close. I feel like, you know, that I'm not setting a time limit on when I'm going to finish. I mean, I'm 37, and you know, I feel like I've still got a good few years left in me. So, you know, I'll just keep going all the time. I'm enjoying it. I'm still performing well, and I'd like to sort of get a few more years under the belt if I can.
Well, next on Terry's road to redemption, it's Fingal's fingers. He had big problems on these last year, but he's put on a lot of training on them since. 5 steel poles. The further you go, the heavier they go, from 145 to 170 kilos, and you have to do them all, if you can, inside 60 seconds. Big chances for Terry to put 2 fingers up at those who thought he was finished. Will he take it?
Well, as James says, 60 seconds to lift these very heavy metal poles. They do get heavier and heavier, and you must flip them 180 degrees. So far, the Nigerian Fadisire managed 3 in 39.35, and 10 seconds faster, the Iranian Marapuria. So it's an all-American clash, this one, Colin. Benzel.
Yes, Benzel doing surprisingly well in the spot, equaling Nick Best. And now they go head-to-head in the Fingal's fingers. And, of course, they'll all have one thought looking forward to the end of the 5th event. Remember, there's 6 events in each heat, but at the end of the 5th, the leader goes straight on to the grand finals. The man in last gets cut, and 4 men go in for the last man standing, a stone challenge to battle it out for the final place in that grand finals. Now, look at this from Benzel. This is normally a really tall man's event, but he's ploughed through those first few like they're nothing.
Absolutely, the speed of him, finding that rhythm, you really can't afford to stop.
Nick Best not quite locking his elbows out. That's going to cause him problems as it gets heavier.
Well, look, a case in point. Well, no, he managed it.
This is unbelievable. He's on to number 5 here, Danny.
Still around 15 seconds left to go.
I can't believe it.
He's done it. Well, look at that. Benzel managing all 5. Nick Best giving up at 3. And, 36.16, placing him between the Iranian and the Nigerian. But Benzel delighted with that.
So he should be. There's not many men in history who've done all 5 fingers, and in 46.99 seconds. And he was walking through the last one. It really didn't look that hard for him. Remarkable. Let's not forget, he was one of the reserves for this contest and came in last minute.
So now, taking on the might of these giant metal fingers, Big Z, Zaviscus, up against Terry Hollands once more.
Terry's got the height, perhaps Zydrunas has got more bulk, so in terms of physical capabilities, probably pretty similar. Who's going to attack it quicker, though? That's the question. Terry slightly faster on the first.
Well, he does have that height, doesn't he? 6'6".
Yeah, that leverage around the fulcrum just helps all the more. Makes it that little bit lighter.
Yeah. Well, they were neck and neck. Big Z just slowing behind Hollands. Now, what's happening here?
What's he doing? He's having a conversation with someone off camera. I'm not sure that's the smartest thing, unless he's worried about actually getting this 4th one over.
Well, look at that. Big Z is actually using his shoulder. Shoulder shunting is not allowed. I don't know whether it's selective deafness or focus, but the ref is really trying to stop him. it's not just against the rules, it is actually dangerous. The crowd is not a million miles away, and if you do shift the base, well, it can't be stopped at this stage. Lets it drop, but that will not count. So he manages 3 of the fingers in 23.04. But Terry Hollands, well, finds himself in second place. 4 fingers, 44.62.
Well, even he looks a little bemused at Zaviskus shoulder shunting. But he played his own game and he got it right. He's in the lead of this group, but Zaviskus, why did he keep on shunting? He's so experienced. Sarah Jane?
Z, now talk to me about the last finger. What happened there? Why was it discounted by the referee?
I injured my shoulder 3 months ago and it's not full recovered. In 4th finger, my arms was tired and I tried to push my shoulder, but referee this time said it's not allowed.
Got it. Now, you're 4 times world's strongest man. You've had a break. You're back. Are you feeling the pressure now?
I always feel pressure. At this moment, not so huge because it's first competition after 2 years injured, and it's good to compete again. Sure, I want to show better results, especially in previous squat event when I did my best event and I lost bar and it cost me a lot of points.
Well, listen, it's all still to play for, as you know, and if anyone can turn it around, you can, so best of luck.
Thank you.
Thumbs up for Benzel then, the only one in the field to flip all 5 fingers, taking another first place. Terry's 4 flips, enough to earn him second. Z slumming it again, down in 3rd. Overall, Z is still well within striking distance if he can shake off his worrying run of form. Terry, though, back on top by half a point. And remember, this year only the top finisher is guaranteed a place in the grand final. Up next in Heat 5, it's another tough test as the athletes meet their old friends Axel Press and Max Reps for a heavy session. Coming up on CoreGenics' World's Strongest Man.
Welcome back, everyone, to World's Strongest Man in Botswana. Well, so far, our final qualifying heat has more than lived up to expectations. Terry Hollands made a terrific start in the load and drag, beating Big Z, and indeed becoming one of only 2 men in all 5 heats to actually complete the course in the load and drag. Next up came the squat lift, usually one of Z's big events, but this time he let it slip through his fingers, and first place instead was shared between Nick Best and a blooded Brian Benzel. Event 3, fingers, and Benzel flipping them like they were a pencil, taking all 5 with Hollands in second place with 4 fingers and Z clearly feeling the pressure. And that's not surprising when you look at the standings after 3 events. Hollands in top spot, Benzel second, Z third, and Nick Best close behind in 4th. Certainly would hate to try and call this one. Let's rejoin Sarah Jane and Magnus with event 4.
Thanks, James. Right now, I'm in front of the formidable Axel Press. Very similar to the event that took out Adam Bishop in Europe's Strongest Man. He was doing it for max weight. Today, it's all about max reps. Magnus, tell us, how grueling is this event?
Well, this is a very hard event, and it's also on your endurance, as it's for reps. But the trick is here, either you'll press it with raw power, or you'll use the clean and jerk.
Now, Big Z, you know, 4 times world's strongest man. He's back after a hiatus, but the pressure is really on him. Could this event upset him?
Well, he really needs to pull something out of his hat now. He's been battling injuries, but I think he wouldn't be here unless he would think he would win.
Oh, I'm excited for this one. But before we get into it, it's all about celebrating World's Strongest Man's 40th birthday. So we're going to take our final flashback and go to the modern era.
The modern era, a decade that started the same way the previous one finished, with Zydrunas Zaviskas winning the crown. The new decade also marked the start of a rivalry that has captivated and enthralled. For the past 8 years, the winner of World's Strongest Man has been either Big Z or Brian Shaw. Both men have dominated the podium, Shaw himself collecting 4 titles. One man has come close more than once. In 2014, the finest of margins saw Hafthor Julius Bjornsson win the Atlas Stones, but Big Z the title. If the Lithuanian had been just 0.4 of a second slower, the Icelander would have broken the monopoly. Five times Bjornsson has been on the podium, 5 times he has left without the ultimate prize. The margins of victory are smaller than ever, the drama bigger. The modern era has seen the rise of the Titans.
Well, Bjornsson and Shaw already through. Zaviskus wants to join them. And it's the axle press that is next. 75 seconds, 162 kilos. And as Sarah Jane said, it's all about the reps. Fadazire managed 0. Marapuria, 1. And Nick Best, who I have to admit has a name that is a lot easier for me to tackle, is up next, alongside Big Z. 4-time World's Strongest Man, wants to be 5-time World's Strongest Man. So, Colin.
Well, this event, formerly a brilliant event for Zydrunas, but his injury was to his neck and his back, and he's suffered with pressing power, but that looks good. Overhead for 1. And this is a serious weight. Wow, he just about locked that out, but he was falling backwards. He wasn't in control.
55 seconds left to go. Zaviskus will take the lead with this rep.
Leans back and hits it with those shoulders. Good stuff.
Watched over cautiously by Terry Hollands. Best still to score a rep.
Well, he must be getting tired now. This is right at his maximum. I think this would be a personal best if he gets it. Yes!
He's got it, and he's delighted. But Zaviskus, oh, I thought he was going to answer that with his 3rd. Couldn't quite lock out.
25.
This is a very heavy weight for the heats. I imagine Zaviskus at his very best would do 5 or 6 with this, though, so he's definitely down a little bit in shoulder power. Best, it's all relative. That's his best ever.
He'll have to be fast, Zaviskus. 1 second left.
Oh, yes!
You're kidding. He did it. 3.
He did. Wow, that's brilliant. There couldn't have been more than 0.1 of a second left there.
Extraordinary. So, Big Z is the current leader. Best getting to know his pals.
Well, that rep could be very important, not just for Zaviskus, but also for Best, because if you get 0 reps, you get 0 points in an event for failing.
Big 0. So, here is Terry Hollands, who, as we saw, was keeping a keen eye on the competition. And up against the American Brian Benzel, who really impressed before with the fingers.
First and second overall in this group, just half a point between them.
But Benzel, kind of an unknown quantity, Colin.
After his impressive squat, who knows what he can do? He's got a bigger log press than Terry, and that was pretty easy.
Very easy for him, it looked like.
Go on, Tel.
Oh.
No.
He didn't get that, actually. Look at that.
Do you know what? He came down too quick. That was the problem. Didn't wait for the referee. Maybe it was the injury. Something's wrong with his elbow. Maybe bicep. Terry Hollands is looking a little confused as well, asking for sunglasses. It's not to look cool, it's because
And you look great.
the actual blue skies here give you nothing to focus on, and you can go off balance very easily as you press overhead.
Well, he's still got just over 30 seconds to try and get at least 1 in.
Boy, that was a strange start to the first 45 seconds of this head-to-head between the 2 leaders in the group, and right now both men are going to get 0 points from this.
He really needs to get something from this.
He really needs to.
No, nothing. And that's that. Well, that was a very unusual event.
Yes, indeed. To the uninitiated, they just saw a man running off and putting sunglasses on. Oh no, Benzel's out. Ruptured bicep. That's what it was. Let's have a look again how he would have done it, Danny. It's the right one. The one that's supinated, so more open and puts more stress on it.
Well, that means that the winner of the axle press, Savickas, probably won't be happy with his performance, but won't be complaining about his place.
A big smile from the Z-Man as the axle rose, and with 6 points for him, suddenly it's the rest of the group that's feeling the pressure. Terry Hollands among the three men, failing to get even a single rep and gaining 0 points. And that means Terry slips back to third place overall, 4 points from the promotion spot behind Nick Best. Up top, just like that, Zydrunas Savickas, 2 points clear, looking to wrap up that one automatic qualifying spot in our next event. And for that, it's over to Big Colin Bryce and Danny Wallace at Kigali Hill.
Thank you very much. So it's the elephant carry. It's a 200-kilo weight. It's made of steel. It's kind of difficult to get your arms around. Oddly balanced. Well, the Nigerian, Fedezire, was first to have a crack. Didn't do particularly well, though, and really suffered. He had to withdraw from the competition after a knee injury. Managed a distance of 4.74 meters. So it's the turn of Marapuria. And, of course, Hollands. Currently in third place.
And I'm looking forward to this battle. Hollands, I thought he might do that. He's a fly or fox, Terry. He watched the Iranian go off first, so he could see exactly what he was doing. But why did he do that then?
Well, Hollands, after a strong start in this heat.
I can only assume that Hollands knows that he's not going to go through the group in first place, therefore he's not going to skip the last event, and he's happy to take them all on in the last man standing stone challenge. He's a great stone lifter. Payman, though, he's going for points, and as you'll see later, if you haven't seen it before, that means he'll be fresher in that challenge. But focusing on this, 4.84 meters, second place.
Representing Iran, Payman.
He beat the Nigerian.
Well, he did by about 10 centimeters. And like you say, reserved a bit of energy.
Yes, that's even better put, Danny. That's exactly why he's doing it. It's just saving energy now, and is going to back his stone lifting in that last event. Brave tactics.
So it's Savickas, currently the leader after 4 events, wants to stay there, then he'll avoid last man standing. And he's up against Nick Best.
Nick Best, I remember him back in South Africa in Sun City. Gosh, he went so much further than anybody else with the Africa Shield. He actually took it for a world record that day. He's not messing around here.
He really isn't. Now the turn. Manages that.
He's got so much willpower, determination, and ability to take pain, Nick Best. And I'll tell you what, he's got his hands locked that a lot of the others haven't, like Savickas. And the longer he can keep them locked and the quicker he can move his feet, he can do something pretty special here.
He really could. Already beaten the Iranian.
Oh, Z's gone down as well. Oh, Best, he's done some mental maths. He thinks he's gone through to the grand final. 2 points in it. Savickas is in third place. He has. Hollands looks stunned.
He's done it. So Nick Best goes through to the grand final. Savickas places third, and Terry Hollands must be kicking himself.
Absolutely. He's now going to face Zydrunas, who's in that last man standing. He's a much better stone lifter than Best, in my opinion anyway. And Best, gosh, he must be extremely elated. What a performance. He's through to the grand final.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a tough heat, and a lot of strange things happen, but you just stay, you do the best you can in every event. And I knew I could kill this event. I knew I'd be able to go as far as I needed to go to win this one.
This is your event, though. I said that to you earlier, and you were like, I'm all right. Like, understatement.
Yeah, I kind of have a world record in this event, so like I said, I knew I was going to do really well in this one. So, and now I don't have to do stones. So I'm pretty excited to get the rest.
Congratulations. I'm so thrilled for you and so pleased to see you so happy as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, Nick Best taking top spot in the elephant carry and taking the automatic qualifying place at the expense of Big Z. A tactical performance from Terry, meanwhile, in fourth, saving his strength for the challenge ahead. So a surprise winner for Heat 5, and what a topsy-turvy contest this has been. But now for the other place in the grand final, Z, Pyman and Terry face the head-to-head playoff decider that is last man standing.
Well, Nick Best is ecstatic. Terry Hollands a little bit less so. Terry, just talk us through your calculations on that event.
Well, I mean, after the axle, I had a real disaster. And I mean, up to that point, I felt like I was in cruise control, and I had the group completely under control. So basically, coming into this, I wasn't sure how much I'd push it, because whether I'm sort of third or fourth, it wouldn't have made a lot of difference. With Olu getting injured as well, it made my decision sort of final just not to push it, because I'm going out. I'd have been in third or fourth place, whereas the first pair anyway. All it means now is I've got to do one extra stone lift.
You were hoping that Z was going to go through as the automatic qualifier and you'd be up against Nick Best, who's good but not Z quality on the stones. How do you feel about your chances?
I got put myself in a bad position, just trying to do as well as I can and manage the situation as well as possible. And hopefully I can put the pressure on him, not do too many lifts against Payman first, and hopefully get stuck into Z and beat him.
All right, we're going to see how it all unfolds in the final event of Heat 5. It is last man standing, and that's next on World's Strongest Man.
Welcome back to Kigali Hill in the heart of Gaborone, where Big Z, Pyman and Britain's Terry Hollands are about to put everything on the line for a place in the grand final. Who will be the last man standing? Over to Colin and Danny.
Thanks, James. So yes, last man standing. It's a new event. One stone passed backwards and forwards over the bar. Has to be done in 15 seconds or less. Now, it's all based on these standings after the event so far, which means that first of all Hollands will take on Pyman Marapuria. Whoever wins will then take on a fresh Zaviskus. And Zaviskus will have that advantage because he's earned it, Colin.
It's his honour, and he watches on as the two get underway. Hollands over to Pyman and back again. Just acknowledging that he has to stand back out the circle each time. Pyman, those are the rules for his own safety. And Terry as well, actually coming in there. He nearly got a big stone on his size 17. But they're worried about the time limit, that's why. One slip and you could be in big trouble.
It's a real battle of wills, this event. As I say, a new one. As much psychological as strength-based.
Yes, and I can't pretend there's been a bit of niggle between these two men. And they're pretty keen to get one over the other, not just make the final. Which, well, certainly playing to Zydrunas' hands, as he's also one of the best stone lifters in the world. So you'll probably get a very spent man facing him off. But you never know. There's a puncher's chance in this. Or a stone lifter's chance, anyway.
That stone, as soon as it lands on the ground, that's when the other guy's time starts. Which is why it's important, or at least sportsmanlike, to get it in the square. Give him a fighting chance.
Well, I must admit, people were talking about Pyman struggling in this because they thought he was a little inexperienced in stone lifting because he hasn't done internationals outside Iran before, but he looks pretty good at it.
Taki is starting to...
Even calling for the crowd now, showboating, trying to get him on his side.
There's Zaviskus wondering who he's going to be taking on.
Oh boy, this is a long old rally. Now he's just starting to huff and puff a little bit. Not when Pyman's looking at him, though.
He really is. There's a little bit more preparation needed now from Terry.
Pyman's just starting to look a bit tired himself. This could go on for a while.
Join us tomorrow on Channel 5 when this will still be going on.
Come on, Terry. See what you've got. That height means he can just pop it with his hips. Doesn't have to waste quite so much energy. Pyman, perhaps 4 inches shorter. He's really got to launch it up and over. I tell you what, there's a big hole starting to form there. If this goes on long enough, we'll be down in a cabin. Come on, Terry.
Like the legs are starting to go. That's it, I'm afraid, for Terry.
Oh, no!
Terry, clear, please.
Well, Zydrunas isn't going to waste any time. He's going to come in now.
Well, Pyman
facing down the greatest strongman in history, totally fresh. I think he's in a world of hurt.
And Terry wondering where it went wrong.
Now, can Pyman somehow bring out the performance of a lifetime here and grind down Zaviskus, who maybe isn't back to his best? That looked pretty good, though. Oh, this is slow. Whoever wins this, folks, goes to the grand final, joining Nick Best and 8 others. And is that it?
I think we know who it's going to be, and it's going to be Big Z, back where he belongs, in the grand final, having taken last man standing.
The 4 times winner, back for his 5th. Just one more step to do it.
But this wasn't that easy. Everyone thought he'd take first place, but he'll take it anyway.
Now, Z, the heats have been incredibly tough. Are you relieved to make it through to the grand final?
I was sure that I will go to final. Events was good for me. Sure, it's tough group, but I plan to compete just in 5 events. But I make mistake in squat and supposed to lift stones, but I just lift 3 or 4 reps, so I'm not tired. I'm looking forward to final.
Well, listen, fingers crossed for you. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Z goes through then and will challenge for his 5th World's Strongest Man title, but Nick Best really the story of Heat 5, at 48 years old, qualifying for only the 2nd time for the grand final. And these then are the 10 athletes that we'll be seeing there. Commiserations to the men who missed out, speedy recoveries to those who had to bow out early, but it's a lineup that looks like guaranteeing something pretty special.
Well, the night sky here in Botswana is certainly stellar. And you know what, Magnus? Our lineup for the grand final is only slightly less star-studded. We've got the 2 4-time winners in Shaw and Z. We've got the 2 Brits, Lawrence Charley and Eddie Hall. We've got the potential champion in waiting in your man Thor. There's the veterans Karan and Nick Best, and of course the new breed, Lysis Kiloskowski and Janashia. Who's your money on?
Oh, I really can't put my finger on it, but this is possibly the strongest lineup ever.
Okay, well, we'll be finding out who takes home the crown from Botswana next time out on World's Strongest Man. We'll see you then.